Okay. America's a sad place. I'm sitting here watching Bernie Sanders, who is a prominent Jewish senator, one of the most popular senators in America, and for good reason because he does stuff like this. His people, Israel, is doing crazy shit, and they want to buy $20 billion of in arms, which means bombs and guns and shit, from American companies like Raytheon, and use them to bomb mostly Muslims, but not guaranteed Muslims. There's going to be some. There's a lot of atheists over there. People don't understand that when you, just like I grew up to hate religion because it's so evil and treats me so poorly. What do you think about little girls over there that have been circumcised, and men that have to go off to fight in war and are constantly pressured to do suicide bombings, and or maybe their wife ended up doing a suicide bombing and like, I'll see you in heaven, and the dude really don't believe, and he fucking turns against. People don't always believe, and most of these other countries, these Muslim countries, they don't force their citizens to be Muslim. Technically, it's not codified, however you pronounce that. Israel does. Israel says Jews are the important people, other people are a subclass of human being, you're different, and you have to be. That's you. The forces. This dude is a Jew, and his people's motherland says you have to support this, and he's willing to stand against it because it's not right. And that's a hard thing to do, to stand against your own people. Like, Christians have an easy time saying the Muslims are crazy, but as soon as you start telling the Christians that some of their shit's misogynistic and child genital mutilation's bad and all this, they fucking like, oh, no. But standing up against your own people is hard. And meanwhile, we're talking about throwing around $20 billion. And in this case, American companies would not receive $20 billion from a foreign government, the Jew bankers. So, it's money coming into America, and we're losing American jobs because we're not building $20 billion in bombs to send over there. But it's not the right way to make money, blowing shit up, blowing people up. So, meanwhile, while Americans were dealing with big shit like that, I'm over here thrilled to death that I found a 10 by 15 drive-up storage unit for $89 a month plus insurance, which is an incredible deal and will allow me to store my bike and my laptop and my PlayStation and the camera and the sound equipment and my extra cell phones. I have backup nice cell phones now. I got 3 nice cell phones and 1 B phone, so I can carry the B phone and 1 A phone with me. And if something ever happens, I don't have to do anything but go to storage and get my new phone activated, ready to go. Bought actually one of those Romanas. When I shut the internet off, the service for the phone is going to get cut off. So it does work now, but it will not work when I move. I got to remember that. But yeah, think about the disparity in the way the poor operate versus the rich operate. Raytheon's worried about losing $20 billion in business, blowing people up. I'm worried about a place to store my possessions where I'm also not allowed to reside. And yeah, like I can't. It's just all bad. Like this is, and I'm just basically getting a place to stash my shit while I deal with life. And of course I got an SUV and I'm gonna sleep in the back of it, and like that's a plan, I guess. And go to Starbucks and shit and shave in Starbucks and get a gym membership around there, and I'll fucking make it work. But it's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna suffer, and I'm gonna have to, my life is fucking bad, but other people are worried about $20 billion for boom booms. The world is a fucked up place. I learned about a bunch of stuff in college, and I refer to that so people know that I've learned a thing or two in my life, but that's not really where you learn most of your stuff. I'm what's called an autodidact. I like to learn, so I learn stuff all the time, and I don't deal with any anecdotal stuff or conspiracy theorists or nothing. I watch science stuff. I watch news and politics that I am extremely sensitive to bullshit. Like the Young Turks, TYT. Would Cenk Uygur lie about the Speaker of the House position getting thrown to Republicans if the Democrats don't get their shit together and vote the way that he said they should, or some way or whatever? That's not how the system works. He lied, and I caught him. He used to be Republican and switched because it's more profitable to the The popular fad was the side he jumped on, showing he's two-faced and he just does whatever is popular. And, populism, YouTube is supposed to be the little guy, but when they get big, they start getting conservative. And guess what? He went conservative. I caught him lying. I blocked him. I made YouTube do not recommend this channel to me and all their subsidiaries. I don't remember all of them, but there's a couple of other dudes. I think the Damage Report was one of them. I barely even remember. And then others that used to be associated with them. I've also that separated before that, so they get a pass on that. But then I turned against like Jimmy Dore. Went conservative, anti-vax crap, batshit, obvious fucking milking conspiracy theorist shit. Like, fuck you, blocked, banned. I used to be a fan of Jimmy Dore, but once I caught him bullshitting, dead to me. I don't ever. I instruct my YouTube app, don't show me that channel. Don't even show me those recommendations. I don't want I don't want to waste the 0.1 seconds it takes my eyes to scroll over that in the menu. I am ruthless. About the only two news outlets that I like are David Pakman, who's like borderline autistic, stoic, accurate, like barely enough emotion to make a compelling show, but that's okay with me because he strives for accuracy and integrity above all else. And in secular talk, and he doesn't ever seem to lie. He does have a liberal bias, but accuracy again is the name of the day, and he's not scared to tell the liberals when they're fucking up either. He's not a fanboy. He's not like with the Trump supporters that are like, he can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. No, Kyle Kalinske will call it like he sees it, which is frequently the Democrats are fucking up, Biden's fucking up, Kamala's fucking up. Like, it's, the truth. I like to learn, and I know a lot. And what I know about the world is if we took the money that we spent blowing shit up, the whole world's military, China, Russia, Iran, UK, France, which has an aircraft carrier now, and they have nukes. They're full on, like, if France wanted to, we don't hear about them very much because they're a first world country and they kind of keep it themselves, but if France wanted to, they could destroy humanity. Like, until they get pissed off, until their leader gets caught having an affair. That wouldn't apply over there. Wrong. Tax evasion and bribery or some scandal that they're dangerous too. Like, the money we spend on blowing shit up, and the effort, money is just symbology of effort. If we all work together, there would be no problem we could not overcome. There would be no starvation. There would be no homelessness. There would be no poverty. Everyone would live in a utopia, a paradise, and have no constraints but their genetics and the laws of physics. They could create and explore the universe to their heart's content, and we could all be happy and get along. And the reason those that watch, not your God, but the aliens running the simulation, the reason they don't just fucking give us that technology and set us on that course is because as soon as you do that, you get kind of boring. It's the struggle that leads to art and creation. And the immortals that watch, the people that you might call it in your weak little impotent sense your God, but I don't see that eye to eye. Most likely there are many simulations, many variations of every simulation. In fact, I theorize that every simulation will run every possible permutation. Every outcome that could be obtained will be explored. If they don't do that, then they're not immortal, and there is no God to begin with, and there's no race of immortal beings, and there's nothing. Like, if anything is immortal, the boredom paradox comes around, and they're going to do it all. And if nothing's immortal, then there is no God. So there is no way. Since there is stuff, it's got to be the multiverse, baby. And not a multiverse. I'm talking a series of multiverse. One multiverse is just one reality in every permutation. But then you can tweak the laws of physics. You can't change things like the Mandelbrot said. That's a more fundamental part of nature, but you can tweak the speed of light and the gravity equations to make matter congeal differently and everything to evolve a bit differently, and that could make some interesting results. Like just the speed of light. How hard is it for different species populating a galaxy or the universe to interact with each other? How hard is it to get over to see their neighbors? If it's real hard, it might never happen. If it's fairly easy, it'll probably happen often. Well, those are different scenarios that need to be explored in the paradox of infinite realities and immortal beings. So you just automatically assume they're going to run every possibility. What's it like if planets are very isolated and develop and go to culture and get high technology and are capable of blowing themselves up, and they run every simulation there? Like, as soon as we got the H-bomb, we blew ourselves up 20 years after, 50 years after, 250 years after, 1,000 years after. Anti-vaxxers causing a pandemic to wipe us out. They've run every possibility over and over and over, down to like you in a casino making a big bet. They're going to run 2 simulations. One potential universe where you won that bet, one potential universe where you lost that bet. What would happen if we changed this one thing? Let's see. That's how it works. It becomes obvious. If we all work together, we could overcome anything. And the simplicity of your meaning in life is just this. 1, learn science, all philosophy and physics. 2, use your knowledge to make tools, engineer stuff. And 3, use the tools that you have made to make art. 3-letter word, very powerful. Art. So, in the old sense, a canvas, oil paint, pigmentation from heavy metals, which are poisonous and kills the artist. Indigo was a hard to make color, so it was reserved for royalty and whatever. That's technology. The nerds made the tools, and then the artists made the art, and we all appreciate the art for eons, forever. Our goal, all living creatures in the universe, our goal is to learn, make, and create. That's it. You can get it down to 3 words: learn, make, create. Making a tool doesn't necessarily make, like, I can put together your stereo, but I can't play the guitar. We're going to need the artist for that. And that's it. Entertainment for those that watch. And the struggle to come up is the problem in getting our shit together. Think about video games. How many people just play a game, maybe 2 or 3 times, and that's it? Okay? So if you divide the percentage of all games played, which is all universe simulations run, how many were regular plays? Now here's another category of play style. Speed runs. What percentage of video game playthroughs are speed runs? Each speedrunner will play the same game thousands upon thousands of times to optimize and beat it as quickly as possible. Or with under certain rules, like 100% first to get to the end. There's different ways you can do speed running. You can, so that could be, and the universe simulation thing, that could be the end of the game could be achieving immortality. So all the creatures in that universe are immortal and have their own time paradox and have to play with simulations. Or it could be destroying the whole universe, or it could be understanding, coming to a final understanding and getting every part of physics right, so there is no question, fully understanding the universe. Or a percentage thing, like when we've achieved a certain percentage of the living beings have attained enlightenment. How many of us have woken up and become woke and have empathy for our fellow creatures and animals and men and everything, and aliens, if they're there too, they're creatures too. What percentage of the population has empathy and is a positive human being? Maybe the goal is to get to 100%, where every person is a benevolent good doer that wants to help everyone out. We don't know what the rules are, but we can learn about science and the laws of physics and go from there, making our tools and making our art. And if we do just that and use pure logic and reason, we'll have nothing but good outcomes. But as long as we stick to these old religions where goat herders are telling us to mutilate the genitals of babies and that women shouldn't be allowed to vote and that Earth is on a disc and under the firmament and God made Earth in 7 days and then sent a great flood to kill every human being except for one little group that made it and inbred the fuck out of each other, making our retarded asses. It's just stupid. The old superstitions of folktales are just stupid and they detract from everything. Logic and reason will set us free. And if those that are watching are not entertained, they may be done with us. If we become boring, it may be over. But if we have a good speed run and we solve all the problems and become immortal and there is no pain and suffering and we achieve enlightenment as a species or collective, like in Star Wars and stuff, you talk about multiple species comprising intergalactic governments. Maybe that's the far future. Maybe because even if humanity beats religion back and attains enlightenment and is mentally healthy and has empathy and we spread to the stars, we may meet alien creatures like the Zerg from StarCraft that just want to kill you and consume you as food. Who knows it'll be out there. But we don't know anything but what we can learn from studying the laws of nature and deduce with logic and reasoning. So that's the only thing. If we replace church with education, if we replaced religious dogma with teaching people empathy, if we all work together, we could beat this speed run and have a really impressive score. Maybe an impressive enough score that they'll keep us around and let us do some bonus shit. They'll have a bonus level. Play with our own simulations. There could be energy considerations at the over level where they're running all these simulations. Like, you may have to prove your simulation is worthy to continue. And there may come a point where it gets so dull. Like, if we go back to the Dark Ages right now, like if the Muslims drag us back to the fucking Stone Age, if the young Earth creationists actually destroy all science that would say the Earth is more than a few thousand years old, maybe they'll look at us and be like, they might come around again the second time, but fuck it, this one's getting boring. We've seen the Stone Age. Like, the monkeys playing with sticks and stones gets old. Like, come on, we want raves with lasers and fog machines and techno and lights and drumming bass and ecstasy. We want fucking the good shit. Like, we don't want this caveman shit. You fucked up. You're done. They might shut it off. They might just silence it. Stop the simulation. Or they might fuck with us, punish us. You're worried about God sending hurricanes because people are gay and shit. What if the powers that be don't like evil people, don't like these MAGA-HAGA fucking cruel people, and they are empathetic, and then they punish groups that allow racism, misogyny, child genital mutilation? What if the religious extremists, thinking they're earning a better seat in heaven by hurting people in this world, are actually damning us all by making us all look bad? And they're our brother, they're our kin. We're not stopping them. Maybe we should work on that. Maybe we should all get together and stop these religious nutbags and turn society to one of logic and reason. Big money don't want that to happen. And this video will never get very far because Google got big money. For now, they're about to split that shit up. Would that help me? If the government splits up Google and compartmentalizes the different companies, YouTube's surely going to go off to the side and be separated from AdSense and stuff. So maybe that will be a good thing. But they are talking of doing that. The smaller it is, the easier it is to interact with. And maybe that would be good for me. I sure as hell ain't getting no traction right now. Suppression of information is the number one way to keep people dumb and religious. And that's what people like my mother and the 5G conspiracy theorists are. They want to keep knowledge out of the people's hands, because when we start learning, you start thinking about how, what was the figure again? Israel spending $20 billion on arms, meaning bombs and guns and shit. Maybe that's not such a good idea. Maybe if we don't spend $20 billion on blowing shit up, we can spend $20 billion on hydroelectric dams and green energy conversion and medical care. That is enough to build bridges and dams, several. Like, a bridge might push $1 billion, but what's 20 bridges? Do you know how many bridges 20 bridges is? Like, and the economic stuff that goes along with it. Like, which is the reason we build infrastructure. And an hydroelectric dam may cost $10 billion, but what does a hydroelectric dam do? Supplies electricity for thousands upon thousands, if not millions. What does Hoover Dam supply? I'd have to look that up. Hold on, I'm going to fucking... Oh, coffee's going to get cold now. Hold on. How many people get electricity from the Hoover Dam? The Hoover Dam generates on average about 4 billion kilowatt hours of hydroelectric power each year for use in Nevada, Arizona, and California, enough to serve 1.3 million people. How much did the Hoover Dam cost? Hoover Dam costs $49 million to build in the 1930s, which is roughly equivalent to $760 million in today's dollars. So let's round that up to $1 billion and say this is 20 Hoover Dams, which is enough for 1.3 times 20 and a third of a, like, what's a 7, 26 point something million people. 26 and change million people. Think about that. The population of some countries. 26 million people could have electricity forever, and dams help regulate flooding and provide a backstock of fresh drinking water and transportation stuff and irrigation for crops and the food we eat. We were only looked up to how much electricity it makes. The dam does other stuff, and the irrigation and the water is a big, that's a whole nother ball game with that river and system. But 26 and change million people. And I rounded the 760, was it, million? I rounded the 760 million up. I gave it a 25% fucking, so we're talking literally over 30 million people could have power forever. Forever, as long as it keeps raining and the dams keep working, which is, if it stops raining, we got other shit to worry about. Or 26 million people could get power forever, and water can be stored and rationed out and preserved and used efficiently for farming and stuff. Or Israel could blow some shit up and kill some brown people. When you have this realization, this epiphany, back in college, and I was learning a lot of this shit, and yeah, I did learn about Israel suppressing Palestine in college in 2005. That shit was going on, nothing's changed in a generation. But think about just how monumental of a waste that is. Israel, and this is not the whole campaign, this is one block, one chunk, I use the word block there, but a chunk of money, one $20 billion package of arms going to Israel could make 20 dams that power 26 million people's lives forever, each and every year, and do all the water stuff. You see how ridiculous it is? And then we have places in Africa where there's not clean drinking water. But I saw a fucking documentary I saved for later and didn't watch the other day, talking about how much water Africa had that they don't use. But infrastructure could help fix that. And hydrogen can be made from it and all this. It just goes on and on. How much good could be done with what we do to be bad? And most of it comes down to religion. And my God has a bigger dick than yours. Except our Christian God, he can't get it up. He can only rape the one teenager. He's the only kid he gets. He can't do it again. Like he's so fucking jaded that he can't even get it up for teenage girls like Mary anymore. Do the math. Do logic stuff like this. This is what people don't do. This is what the Trumpers don't do. The Trumpers listen to Alex Jones and then go attack FEMA rescue people. This is what I do. I logically reason through things that this one chunk of weapons going to Israel, that's not all there's going to be. That's not all there's been. Could provide infrastructure with clean water and irrigation and electricity for 26 million people forever. It's that or blowing shit up. Bombs are expensive. Oh, and then there's the damage that they cause. You see that? This is the price of the bombs. What's this cost? What's cleaning that out and rebuilding it cost? Of course, they're already in New York. They're already having real estate meetings. Oh, I'll pull that. I'll pull something about that up right now. Selling land in Gaza here in America. That'll pull something up. Israel's selling stolen Palestinian land to Americans 1 day ago. Okay. Yeah, and I've seen stuff about this before where there are meetings where Jews can go and buy land. Remember, it's still Palestine. It's still another country that Israel doesn't own. It hasn't taken it yet. International law isn't recognizing Israel taking over Palestine. It's a different country. And they're like, hey, look at this, like the bomb remnants from the last one. Look at this seafront real estate. Because remember, let's pull up Google Maps. Google Maps is so powerful, dude. I can just go straight in. There's Lebanon, Beirut. Here's Jerusalem, and here's Gaza. You see how Gaza is Mediterranean beachfront property? They are already selling the victims' land. They are selling. Look how underdeveloped the Gaza part is too. Ugh, I didn't know that. But they're using these $20 billion in bombs to level this area, and then taking it over and then selling beachfront property on the luxurious, warm climate Mediterranean Sea. This is premium property. That's why the Jews want it so bad. Like, look at that location. Look, this is the canal to get through, so you don't have to go around Africa to get to Asia from Europe. That's right here. And this is Italy, Greece, Europe here. This is the sea connection point for the whole world. That point right there, the whole world. If you want to get from Germany to India, you either go by truck across land, which limits the size of your shipment hugely, or you send a shipping container, and a shipping container has two choices. From Germany, they don't have a border, but they get it down, put it on the water here, go through here, or go all the way around Africa. And this down here, because of the polar situation and the violent storms, this is some dangerous sailing down here. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. So this real estate right here, right on top of the shipping hub of the world, that's expensive territory, man. And these fucking brown Muslims, they've got this little shit town there, and fucking Israel wants it for their own, and they're already selling beachfront property that they don't own, but you can buy it. Well, actually, no, you can't. You have to be. They had the sales here in America. I was trying to pull that on a search a minute ago, and they only allow Jews to buy it. And in America, that's illegal. The real estate transactions happening here, so you can't tell someone you're the wrong ethnicity. You're not allowed to purchase this land here. But that don't apply when it comes to Israel. And their weak ass little fucking God. Oh, and for the Christians watching, all my haters, remember, these are the ones that like nailed Christ to the cross. So you got your own beef with them. They're Christ deniers. And the reason that America supports Israel so much is our religion says that to bring on the end times, Revelations, we need Israel controlled by the Jews here, and then they die and are buried here. The next phase is we want them to die. Yes, we want Israel to control, the Jews to control all of Israel and take all the land. Next step, we want them to die. We don't have good intentions for them. We're trying to hurry in the apocalypse to bring Jesus back, which means get the world killed, get everyone killed. That's what it means. That's what this is. And they're attacking the West Bank, which has nothing to do with Gaza. Everyone keeps talking about Hamas and shit, but this is a different group of also, Muslims, but it's more solidifying the geopolitical state. They want from sea to sea, which used to be Palestine. That's where that from sea to sea Palestine will be free comes from, because it was before the end of like World War II, and the West decided, hey, you know what, the Jews get Israel back because the Bible said so. That's pretty much it. In Lebanon up here, they were fucking fighting with them. Beirut and Lebanon, they want the whole coast. All right. And look how big Iran is. You see the border here? You see the border of Iran? How big Iran is. And over here, this is Israel. This is Israel. With chunks taken out of it for Palestine. This is going to go to war with this. Oh, and this controls these guys. Lebanon. Yeah, Syria ain't happy with them. But they're just like, that's another whole good point right there. When this region is solidly Muslim, right? Do you think did they go to paradise and everything become better when everyone's the same religion? No, they segment into different sects, S-E-C-T-S, and started fighting amongst themselves. The Sunnis and the Shias and the Kurdish, they separate amongst themselves, just like in America. It was almost all Christian, okay? But then we divided. There's the Catholics and the Protestant divide, and the Protestants are divided between Baptists, Pentecostals, Methodists. Then the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints popped up and added on the end. They're technically Christian, but a new thing. It's the Mormons. America wants Christianity to take over and be the whole of America. As soon as that happens, the different types of Christians are going to fight amongst themselves. It doesn't matter. If it's not based on logic and reason, it always comes back to pain and suffering. It has no purpose. This fighting has no purpose other than to entertain those that watch. And I firmly believe our goal as a species, as a living being in this universe, is to overcome the pain and suffering and achieve enlightenment and immortality. And as soon as you do, the paradox of the infinite boredom comes in, and we'll make our own simulations, and we'll see if we can do things better or whatever. We'll be playing with our own simulations. And it will not take as long as people think. If we don't kill ourselves the way AI is progressing, 10 years from now, there will have been a major revolution. People do not understand the power of AI. And the systems of AI are limited by compute, and the current AI can design better compute systems to rapidly scale up how much compute we have, and then that makes it easier to design even more sophisticated systems. It will become an exponentially self-fulfilling thing, and if it doesn't go Terminator on us and kill us all, we'll have mastered the physical. We'll become a Kardashev Type 1 civilization and control an entire planet. And let's see what. Type 2 is a star controlling a whole star, I think. And Type 3 is a whole galaxy. And Type 4 is the whole of the universe. I think it's something similar to that. But controlling all the power of a planet is immense. Fuck your little nuclear bombs. Like Trump talked about nuking a hurricane. Do you know how many exponentially... illogical say. How much more powerful a hurricane is than one nuclear bomb? A nuclear bomb has a radius of like 10, 20 miles. A nuclear bomb wouldn't vaporize... Where's Tampa here? A nuclear bomb would make a hole like this big. Okay? A hurricane is this big. Many thousands of times, and it's three-dimensional. It's layered. It goes way up in the atmosphere. The energy a hurricane contains is so immense that a nuke isn't shit to it. But that's not logical. Like, the fact that Trump said that shows he doesn't understand anything about the weather and nature. And people running their fucking mouth about, I got an argument at the festival about that with someone talking about cell phones and radiation from cell phones being dangerous. And they're like, well, the sun is. Yeah, the sun's a giant nuclear furnace and produces ionizing radiation that is the primary driver of evolution and will burn your skin and shit. Like, you touch a black car in the summer, go ahead. But the power to control a whole planet. And remember, we're just technically a Carter Type 1 is control the planet, the whole planet. We're talking about the weather. The paper-thin atmosphere covering the ball. No. The magnetic forces of the giant iron ball at the center of the Earth rotating, and the heat of all the magma underneath the crust of the planet, the most of the planet, almost the crust is real thin. All that energy, the thermal energy of the cooling planet, is immense beyond anything you could imagine. The only thing we could do to generate power on the level of that is like antimatter-matter interactions, which are quite violent. And yeah, a small amount of antimatter could blow up a whole planet, but if we master physics enough to control giant particle accelerators and magnetically trap a bunch of antimatter, like the technology to do all that is so advanced, there's no point in blowing planets up. Why? Why bother? Nothing could stop you. Like, that's another thing that learning science like I do just day in, day out will the negative part, it will ruin science fiction for you. Most science fiction is fucking stupid and comical. Like, Independence Day, they actually said the aliens are coming to get iron from the planet because they're out of iron to build ships. Newsflash, the asteroid belt in our solar system has much more iron than our whole planet, and it's pretty easy to get to. Getting the iron down here on the planet out of the gravity well into space, that's incredibly energy intensive. You can just pick it up floating through space. One of the most common, all stars make iron. Iron is one of the normal fusion products of stars. No star is small enough that it doesn't get the iron. Now, heavier, when you start getting heavier than that, it requires more violent things like supernovas and collapses or impacts between two stars or collapsing into a black hole, shit like that. But iron is one of the most common things in the fucking universe. By weight, a lot of stars end up mostly iron. Not number of atoms, but one iron atom is worth a lot of hydrogen atoms. So learning will set you free. Religion will keep you a slave. All of your Christian and Judaism shit, all of that is in this little circle right here. Right here. That's it. Over here in China, in Russia, there are people that have cultures that tie back to the India and Hinduism and what's the other one, the Chinese. Fuck, I'm not as fluent with the one. Anyway, they have whole different religious systems that have no connection, that are not shared at all with the one over here, with these little guys. This is the ones that took over the world with violence and shit. And I was in jail with a dude that had the Bible, or not, that's the wrong word, but a holy book for Thor and Odin and the Gaelic traditions up here. And that's a whole different Ragnarok and the end of the world and the cycle, the cyclic thing. A whole different religious system that far predates this Christian shit down here, way older. And who's to say that's wrong and you're right? There's no difference. They're all fucking stupid. No, the world isn't run by a bunch of gods sitting on, Asgard. No, that's some shit for Marvel movies, man. It's not true. And of course, we have way over here, we have Hawaii, the indigenous people here that, of course, migrated over from Africa and Asia. All humans come from Africa. These people believe the world's in the back of a turtle. And they live on what looks like a turtle floating in the sea. But they don't know that over here is an even bigger island, Japan. And they don't believe we're on the back of a turtle. They, honestly, I don't have as much knowledge on primitive Japanese religious beliefs, but partially that's because they don't interfere with modern society. Did you know in Japan it is illegal to force children to participate in religious stuff? Anything. If, like the Baptist church there, where they tell you, you're a sinner and you're going to burn in hell. If a child says, this is scary, I don't want to be here, it's child abuse to make them go. Largely they're atheists. And what do their ancestors believe? I'm not as fluent with that, because we don't hold on to those beliefs and force it down everyone's throat. And neither do they. Hell, the only reason these people are against weed is we nuclear bombed them and forced them when they surrendered to us in World War II. We forced them to start criminalizing cannabis. But before that, they liked cannabis, and it was a normal part of their society. Weird country, too. How long it is. Up here is extreme cold. I've seen documentaries about the villagers living in. They only take one shower a week because they have to heat up a stone hut so they can have liquid water and take a bath. And it's almost impossible to survive. It's so fucking cold. Down here, it's fucking tropical. Hard tropical. Like palm trees and beach crabs and stuff, like full on. It's a long, weird country. A lot of variety. And they didn't think we're on the back of a little turtle. Well, little, wrong word, but the people over here in Hawaii, these people think they're on the back of a turtle. Because their view is limited, and this is their world, and that made sense to them. But now with satellite imagery, we can see that, hey, there's a crack in the Earth's mantle that allows magma to come up and make islands, and with tectonic activity, that hole moves over time, and that's how this thing forms. And over millions of years, it changes. So remember, even if a continent moves 2 inches a year over 1 million years, that's 2 million inches. Let me do a quick conversion. How far is 2 million inches in miles? "31 miles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 2 million inches is 31.5 miles. That's 1 million years. Or, hold on. I said 2 million. Okay, I should have fucking. Why didn't I fucking do 1 to make the math easier? Oh, let me change that. Just let me. Like that. That was. I just came up with a number, but make it unit 1. 15.7 miles per million years. Okay. Well, how long ago did the apocalypse that destroyed the dinosaurs, the asteroid thing, and it caused nuclear winter and freezing Earth, and warm-blooded became extremely selective, pressure desirable, and warm-blooded creatures, mammals, gave rise. The origin of not just our species, but warm-blooded mammals. That was 64 million years ago. Okay, so let's multiply 64 million. That's one of these. This is 15.7 is unit. So 15.7 times 64. 1,004 miles. Okay? So, in the time of the dinosaurs, or the end of the period of the dinosaurs, from then to now, if the continental drift is 2 inches per year, then it would have moved 1,000 miles. 500 scale, 500, 1,000. One of these bars from here, that's half the distance to the U.S. mainland. So if you're talking about people like that came over the land bridge and there are people around here sailing to it, people didn't exist 64 million years ago, but pollen on and flower seeds and coconut, whatever, just the odds of something getting from here to here are a lot less than something getting from here to here. So that grossly affects the chances of biological interaction and animal and vegetable stuff getting on the island. Like, that changes things hugely. And let me check on what's the average continental drift, because I said 2 inches, but I think it's actually more than that. How far on average does a continental plate drift every year? At an average rate of 0.6 inches a year. Okay, so roughly half what I was calculating. But that's also an average. They also don't all move at the same speed. Some, the seafloor goes wider. The continents on opposite sides of the ridge move away from each other. The North American and Eurasian tectonic plates, for example, are separated by the mid-Atlantic ridge. The two continents moving away from each other at a rate of 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch per year. Okay, that's twice as much as the global average for all tectonic drift, but some aren't moving much, some are moving faster. This one, the Atlantic one, so this one is the one they're talking about. It's 1 inch per year. So the 64 million years since the dinosaurs, it's 1,000. This is the 1,000 bar. Compare that to the tip of America to England. Like, that's at least a third of the way closer. Oh wait, no, further apart. So so 64 million years ago, we would have been closer by a big chunk. And these are all, they don't move in a straight line and it changes, or we're dealing with broad general sweeps. But I'm just giving you an idea of what is possible. And of course, all the land masses are from a giant impact that made the moon and split off the ball that was Earth, and some huge impact whacked the planet and ripped out a big chunk of it, but it made the planet not as spherical, and the water always goes to the lowest point, so there became above the water and below the water. It could have been, if nothing had ever whacked the planet really bad, the Earth could have been really smooth and completely covered in water. Because if you smooth it out and take the high parts and put them in the low parts, like put Mount Everest and the Marianas Trench, you can make the whole world covered in water. But a huge impact made our moon. And actually, there's a thing about, like, the core of whatever hit us is part of us and, like, inside the fucking planet. Like, that huge violent event made the original supercontinent. One side of the Earth had a chunk that was of higher elevation from the center than the rest, and then the Earth's crust is cracked into all these pieces, and it's not stable, and over time they drift. There's probably a video I can pull on that. I'm sitting here in layman's terms. Video of long-term continental drift. Okay. Let's check that out. $180 million years ago, 175 million years ago, 770 million years ago, 5 million year chunks here. We're going out of time. Every click is 5 million years. Oh, you can see Florida and shit forming. Africa and South America used to be together. This is going to become the Middle East and Egypt and shit in here. Used to be open channels, not just a little canal between the Indian and Pacific Ocean. Looking more familiar, huh? 15 million years ago, 10 million years ago, 5 million, now right here, right there. Oh, 1 million years ago. I went a little bit, hold on, let me back it up. 20 million years ago. Let me back it down. 15, 10, 5. Okay, 5 million years. The oldest human beings, it's debated, but maybe 600,000, Homo sapien. Then Australopithecus and Homo habilis, I don't know the exact order. I don't know which, I'm not an expert enough to know all the details. But we've been hominids, similar to human apes. We are apes. When it comes from apes, we are apes. But apes that looks kind of like us for roughly 2 million years. And then 5 million years is back a bit further than that, where all the apes will be over here. All apes will be right here. All of them. Every single one. 5 million years ago. And look how Russia and Alaska are connected more solidly. Much more. I mean, look at that. That's the cross between Asia and America 5 million years ago. Now, this is super far north and super frozen, so primates cannot survive in that. And it wasn't until a few 100,000 years ago at the earliest maybe not Homo sapien, but very close to humans that have technology, very key, making shelter, making clothing from like animal hides and furs, making fire, things like that were necessary for humans to get over here. So until much more recent times, that didn't happen. But a chimpanzee or its ancestors would have no chance of crossing over by the Bering Strait because it's a frozen wasteland. You need to kill some caribou and take their hides and make super warm coats out of them and make fire and know how to render seal fat into oil, which you can burn for light and heat. Like, you have to have technology and knowledge to survive that crossing, or sailing and sail across an ocean. It's just not as easy as people make it out to be. But things change over time. See, that's 5 million. 1 million. Wow, looks really close to modern society 1 million years ago. And now hominids were maybe already making fire and definitely fucking around with stone tools, and similar to human things are there. But look at the Bering Strait now. That's a bigger gap. Remember how it was really close and there was a bunch of intertwined little shallow crossings? Now it's not such a... Now it's getting a little bigger. There's only one place. Because you wouldn't know if you were here, you couldn't see over here. You can't see across. So you could go this way, this way. You wouldn't know that sailing off this way, there was a short little passage there. You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that. 0 million years ago. Modern times. Even bigger gap. But the white's there because it freezes a lot. It's up very far north. Which is one of the ways we crossed. We didn't sail that part. I think we walked that part. Or maybe took sled dogs or something. The canines came later, but... It's not a clean process. You think intelligent design made this shit? You think it's that sloppy? People that talk about intelligent design don't understand genetics. Most of your DNA is wasted space. Like, it's just errors and junk. Only, hold on, I don't want to give the exact answer since I'm being so... What percentage of human DNA is useful? According to current research, only around 8.2% of human DNA is considered functional or useful, meaning it plays a significant role in biological process, with the remaining portion often referred to as junk DNA, which may still have some regulatory functions even if not directly coding for proteins. Okay, so 91.8% of our DNA is fuck up leftover shit. And I kind of knew that. I mean, I was going to say only a small percentage. There's a little more that's viruses that have been incorporated in our genome. Only a small percentage, around 1% of human DNA directly codes for proteins, which are the primary functional molecules in the body, regulatory elements. The majority of functional DNA is involved in regulating when and where genes are expressed, acting as switches to control protein production. That's why you don't keep growing taller and you don't keep growing a bigger dick. It switches on and off. Like chickens have tails in their DNA coding. It's just been switched off. And we played some experiments where we switched it back on and we can grow chickens with tails. Because they used to be like fucking a velociraptor with a long tail. That's what the lineage of chickens are. And it's still in there. It's just switched off. Less than 10% of human DNA has a functional role. More than 90% of human DNA is doing nothing very useful, and in large stretches may be no more than biological baggage that has built up over years of evolution. It's not intelligent design. It's a crapshoot. But the way people get confused about evolution isn't going towards a goal. Evolution just happens. Survival of the fittest isn't even quite the right term. It's a way to look at it, but if you have DNA that makes you a fucked up individual that cannot reproduce, the odds of you reproducing are zero, and you do not pass on those genes. If you have DNA that gives you some sort of advantage and you're more likely to survive, like you're smarter or bigger or faster, stronger, if you are advantaged by a random mutation, then the odds of you passing off that beneficial mutation to other generations are increased because of your increased likelihood of survival. But it's not guaranteed. A wolf might eat your ass. A polar bear might eat your ass, and then you didn't get to pass them on. It's not a guarantee. It's just the law of numbers and averages. But the black dude in jail stripped on that. Well, like, why are there still monkeys? If we evolved from monkeys, why didn't they evolve with us? Well, the selective pressures of the environments are different. When humans got to the plains in Africa, walking upright was a huge advantage because bipedal locomotion is energy efficient and you can walk long distances easier on the plains, and having a higher set of eyes gives you a longer field of vision, and on flat areas that's extremely important. So the bipedal form, us, which also gives us limbs free, hands, so we can start doing stuff with our hands besides walking. That takes us down one evolutionary branch. But chimpanzees live back in the jungle. If you take a human, a planeswalker, and take them back to the jungle and put them in the jungle, how are they going to survive? You think they're better than the chimpanzees at swinging from the trees and throwing rocks and sticks at each other? No, they're going to get their ass kicked. The gorilla is going to show you who's the dominant species. That could be for me. I got to go have a U-Haul box being delivered today, and who knows what them and the timing. Okay, that was a good vlog, but hey, the moral of the story is learning and creating art is the goal of our existence. We need to stop fighting and bombing each other and work together and cooperate. It's the only final solution. And until we realize that, we're going to continue to suffer.